Mysterious song. More like mysterious dong. No, it's actually not terrible, honestly. Hey, non-existent audience, it's Skwatter back again with another ramble on this game. Hopefully it's about the game and uh, mostly about the game actually, because other rambles are just me basically talking about anything just off the top of my head. But I mean, I guess that's pretty much why I can just yappity yap for sometimes an hour and 45 minutes on the end, because I looked back in my previous rambles, and some of them, like I think for Lunar Eternal Blue Complete, yeah, I think it was about almost 2 hours, like an hour and 45 minutes, and the audio levels are really, really low on those rambles. So apologies to the non-existent listeners to those videos. Uh, I didn't replay sped up footage of the games that I was playing back then, and I just had a static picture as the background image. And but this is how I do it now. I think it's a little bit more interesting for the non-existent viewers. So yeah, this is a mysterious song. It is originally a DOS game made in, I believe, 1999 and 2000, depending on which version, I guess, by a company called Darkness Ethereal, I think is how you pronounce it. And then it was ported, I believe, in the year 2012 to the TurboGrafx CD or Turbo Duo by a company called Frozen Utopia. And I was actually, well, not really. I was surprised to see that the Turbo Duo version, while the overworld and battle graphics are pretty much identical, the portrait art, as well as the cutscenes, which were not in existence in the original DOS version, are completely revamped. The original had more of an anime aesthetic to it, and I gotta tell you, they made Spear, curious name there, whatever. They made Spear look kind of femmy, in my opinion. Kind of femmy, like long hair, gentle features, which I think this Turbo Duo version really fixed up upon. Though I would say that the art, even though it's more kind of North American styled, I would say that the art falls victim to a problem that I find with anime, at least some forms of anime, and I've talked about it before in some of my previous rambles. I find that the art in a lot of anime kind of ends up running in onto each other in terms of character models, right? Like a lot of characters look almost identical to each other, and I know that there are different styles of drawings and stuff like that, but it's like you would never see diversity of people's faces and looks and facial structure and looks and things like that, like from what you would see in, say, Space Adventure Cobra, like or like the early '80s kind of very realistic looking anime shows from back in the day. You won't see that in something like Pokemon or Dragon Ball Z or things like that, right? Like it seems like Gohan, Goku, and Goten. I think those characters are the names. Those are the names of the characters. They look, in all practical sense, at least to me, identical to each other, and I find it difficult, like other than like a difference in uniform or a difference in hair that they have styled or something like that. It's almost impossible to tell the characters apart, and I would say that it goes the same for, say, Spear and Tiger in this game. If it wasn't for Tiger's blue hair, Tiger would look identical to Spear, and Rihanna would look identical to Spear's mother. Uh, so, you know, I'm a comic drawer myself. I do the vast majority of my comics in simple programs like Microsoft Paint. I usually like to use the Windows XP version of Microsoft Paint to draw my comics, but recently I've sort of moved into using the Windows 10 version, although while it does have some quality of life improvements, there are other confounding aspects of it that just blow my mind. Like, it used to be super easy to just drag and drop an image on the desktop into an already active canvas, if you would call it, like opened in Microsoft Paint, the original version, and you could just drag and drop it, and it would literally just paste the picture on top of what you already had there. As far as I can tell, and I'm positively confounded. Like, because for this next game that I want to play, it's going to be Valis, the PC Engine version. I'm going to interpolate the English subtitles that are fastened to the footage of playthroughs of the Switch version. Of course, I'm going to play through my own game on the emulator RetroArch using the PC Engine CD version in glorious, I believe, 16/10 aspect ratio. Yes, this game here, it started off in 16/9, though I thought it was just a little bit too squashed. I tried it for rather quickly in 4/3 aspect ratio. Thought that everything was kind of too narrow, and I didn't like how most of the screen wasn't being used. So I decided to maybe use 16/10. It kind of shaves maybe about an inch off of each side of the screen, so it kind of brings it somewhat more in line with how it was originally intended to be displayed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to interpolate the subtitles from an upload to YouTube of the Switch version. I'm not going to download any footage. I'm not going to copy any footage. I'm not going to use it on as my own. Believe me, you'll know. You, my non-existent audience, know that what footage is mine and what footage isn't. You can normally tell because of the cheats, the RetroArch windows opening up. Sometimes Art Money opens up. Sometimes you'll see my cursor and things like that. That's just the nature of the game that I'm playing. The business that I'm in. Not much of a business, but what can you do? Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is, when I play the next game, Valis, I'm going to just play the game normally. I'm not sure if I'm going to. I probably won't stop recording at the time every cutscene happens. I think that'll be a waste. I think I'll just kind of sit through, not knowing what's necessarily going on, and then after all is said and done, I'll just use the worst video editing program around, Cyberlink Power Director 19's title room, and I will do color-coded subtitles as to what's being said. And since I have a proper English translation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it transformative, and I'm going to change a few terms, give attitude or personality to conversations and people that there wasn't before, and kind of make it somewhat my own, right? Because I've been waiting a good long time for since I've played Valis 2 and 3 already for this channel. I've been thinking, it's like, I was trying out the Genesis version of Valis 1, and it works, it's functional and everything, but just the cutscenes are just god awful, right? Like, and I mean, like, if I was thinking, maybe if I was to play that game, I would set RetroArch's fast forward speed to maybe 2.x, so maybe the music wouldn't be super distorted, and the subtitles would kind of crawl a little faster, right? They'd appear a little faster, because it is at a snail's pace in the original game. Like, it's as if you're talking like this, right? And I mean, like, I just can't get around that. It's like, it totally ruins the game. I mean, I don't know why they decided to do that. Plus, there's a bit of English in the Genesis version, like missing definite articles. Uh, so, but yeah, no, that's going to be the next game that I'll play there. And I'll probably also play the fourth game, because that's also got at least a dub for the cutscenes. What I'm thinking of doing with that version, in fact, both Valis 1 and Valis 4, is that as I kind of go through it editing the video, I'll use my Android phone, and I'll take pictures of the Japanese text on the screen, like if there's a sign that I read that's not subtitled, or because I've seen in the playthroughs in the Switch version that have been uploaded, some of the credits and text is just untranslated and still in Japanese. So I'll point my phone to the screen and use Google Translate's auto translate app through the camera and see what that gets me. And I'll kind of interpret it as best as I can, because it's not the most perfect thing, even if you do use online translation services and not just like download a language pack, right? So yeah, that's going to be an interesting little endeavor that I'm going to try to undertake. It's not impossible, but we'll see what the quality is at the end of it all. So, well, I suppose I should get back to this game here. So this is Mysterious Song, as I stated. You've only got 3 playable characters here. I thought that based off of the cover that you would have 2 men and 2 women, though that other woman turned out to be your mother, who was only in the game for maybe a grand total of, depending how long it takes you to read her text, less than 2 minutes, honestly. This story is it's very simple. It's very loose. There's not a whole lot of cohesion in this game here, and I understand. It is an indie game, and it is an old indie game, like 25 years old, if depending on which copyright date you choose to utilize. So I give it a lot of leeway and sympathy for its, in certain ways, for its mechanics and things like that, but I just found it rather fascinating that it would seem that the fans of the role-playing genre, the fans, who are good programmers themselves, competent and everything, would fall victim, in some ways even more so, to tired, old, overused tropes and the lack of quality of life improvements that compared to even developers of a decade or so before a game like this was released, right? I would say that the instances of battles, the encounter rate in this game is positively abysmal. I mean, you can barely walk for a grand total of a solid 3 to 4 seconds without entering another battle, right? I mean, it's just battle after battle after battle, right? And I mean, it's like, again, I know that this was 1999 and 2000, but it's like you've had a solid like 10 years worth of playing older and more modern console-style role-playing games in order to realize that it's like, you can kind of truncate this, right? I was expecting, since especially this was ported to the Turbo Duo in 2012, right? Like I guess a lot of my criticism is being levied at the original DOS version, which still could have had all of those quality of life improvements implemented, but the fact that Frozen Utopia chose not to implement something as simple as, say, uh, an always there on the fly save feature, or an encounter rate modifier, or what is it, a fix that would allow you to choose to drop things from your inventory in case you were fighting a battle and you got an important item, like a weapon, like, the Oblivion Sword, for when you fought the Great Hairpiece. Funny. Which is what happened in my playthrough of the EX version. I fought him. I thought that I might have glitched the game when I had gone through all the chests and Hairpiece's ruler came out, and then it said incomplete puzzle, so I didn't know what was going on there, and before I knew it, I was already locked in the final portion of the game, which is basically what you're seeing here now. That is to say, the final portion of the EX game, which I would say completely cuts out the other 75% of the original story. Right. I think there's only a single cutscene in this version of the game. Right. A single animated cutscene. But so like it's confounding. Like I just have no idea why they went about doing this and not say giving it a different text font, because even in this case, like it's either too thin to read when it's 4/3 or too fat and short to read when it's 16/9. I tried to find a good medium right here. So, but it's like a lot of people worked on this, as you can see, right? Like here's the credits and everything. A lot of people worked on this, so you would think that they would have more than enough minds and talent to kind of figure this sort of thing out, but they didn't, right? It's like there's a grand total, and again, I know, this is an indie game, but again, like this is like the like updated version, right? Like I know that the game is in and of itself like 25 years old. It was released for DOS back when that was still an operating system, but it's not like these people were just working with like peanuts, like it's like I know that these people are independents, right? And they don't have like millions or even hundreds or even tens of thousands of dollars behind them, but from what I see, like there could have been a really neat game here, but I mean it seems to, like, once you edit out using the super code that you would implement at the beginning of the game at the language select screen, if you get rid of the battles, I mean, the game is basically like 45 minutes long, I mean, in its entirety, right? I mean, it's like if you knew where you were going in the Crystal Maze, which I didn't, and there are no video walkthroughs as far as I can tell, so I think that I've got the very first ever video walkthrough of the EX version of this game, and if I'm wrong, you can go ahead and tell me. I'll completely accept it. But see, puzzle is incomplete, right? So I mean, and there are a couple of walkthroughs available for this on GameFAQs, but they give zero information. Like they even have maps of the dungeons and stuff like that. Then I think, well, I mean, like, God bless you, thank you very much for doing that, right? Like, I'm very appreciative of it, but it just would seem that the walkthrough is just kind of scant. It leaves you wanting for a lot more maps, and I know that some of the maps, like this one, is randomly generated, so I mean, it would be a colossal pain in the ass to play the game over and over and over again, right? But he goes on to say, he goes on to say, whoever wrote this walkthrough, he goes on to say that the Crystal Maze is always the same. It's not like these two dungeons, the Ice Cave and this weird brown and purple cave, whatever it is. It's always the same. It's not like selected from one of 12 or 36 randomly generated maps. So I was thinking, like, could you not have done that, right? Because it would only take a single playthrough, right? I mean, it is huge. Believe me, it is. And I had no idea where I was going, and I only found out where to go, I think, twice, honestly. Once without knowing it, just by trial and error. So, to be honest, I am very, very glad that this game is finally over and done with, and that I've done a little bit of something for the retro gaming community in case somebody else wants to try their mental metal at this experience. Again, they said that it was also dedicated to the memory of a good friend of theirs. So I mean, God bless them, right? That's nice. That's very sweet. So respect for that. But yeah, no. This is it's very hmm. Okay. I think I'm. Yeah, this is it. All right. Hey, peace out, everybody. Bye.